You don't belong here. Get out.
Andrew, with his prestigious education and placement in the sales department, and me, a graduate of a third-rate college assigned to the human resources department. It's no wonder Andrew looks down on me. Usually, I would endure Andrew's remarks, but this time my dad was beside me. I never wanted to worry my dad. I hated feeling so powerless. Then my dad shouted,
Bring me the highest ranking person here right now.
My name is Michael Smith, and I'm 23 years old this year. I've lived with my father, David, ever since I was a child. My dad works as a construction manager at a construction company, and his income is fairly average. We never struggled, but we couldn't afford luxuries. My mother passed away from illness when I was very young. But my father worked hard to make sure I never felt lonely. He'd wake up early every day to make me a lunchbox. It didn't look great, but it was made with love. During school events, he would leave work to attend. While other parents wore suits and fancy clothes, my dad showed up in his work uniform. I felt embarrassed as everyone stared at my out-of-place dad, but I was happy that he came to the school event. Still, I sometimes felt lonely without a mother, so I'd stay out late with friends. Looking back, I was probably relying too much on my dad. But he'd wait at the door without sleeping until I got home. And when I did, he'd always greet me with a smile. Even though he must have been exhausted from work, my dad always put me first. Gradually, I started to feel guilty about that and began coming straight home after school. Seeing this change in me, my dad would smile. More than 20 years have passed living with my dad, and I've grown up. To save on commuting costs, I went to a nearby college. It's considered a third-rate school, nothing to brag about. But it's a private college with scholarships and tuition waivers for honors students, making it easier for me to attend without burdening my dad. I spent my free time working part-time jobs and eventually graduated and got a job at Rainbow Corporation. I was the first from my college to get an offer from this company. Rainbow Corporation is a popular company with many applicants. Usually, only graduates from well-known universities get in. As a result, even my college professors were surprised. I've caused my dad financial hardships, but now I can support him financially. I felt proud that I could finally do something for my dad. But my expectations were dashed as soon as I joined the company. On the day of the orientation, I met the last person I wanted to see. As soon as he saw me, he walked over with a smirk.
Well, look who's here. You, loser Michael. I didn't think someone like you could get a job.
Andrew, you're at this company too? I muttered softly. Andrew stepped closer and whispered in my ear so no one else could hear.
This company isn't right for you. You're an eyesore, and I'll crush you soon.
I frowned at Andrew's words. Andrew was my classmate in senior year of high school. He was always picking on me and was a terrible person. I think he looked down on me because I was from a single-parent household.
You're at the bottom of society without both parents. Everyone. If you don't want to end up like Michael, stay away from him.
Andrew would shout such terrible things to our classmates. Back then, Andrew was good-looking and had the best grades in the class. He was popular with both boys and girls, so when he said that, my classmates distanced themselves from me. Because of that, I spent my last year of high school alone. I was frustrated, but there was nothing I could do and had to give up. As I was remembering those things, The assignments for each department were announced. Andrew was placed in the prestigious sales department. I was assigned to the mundane human resources department. As soon as the assignments were made, Andrew looked down on me.
Even your assignment is for losers. Starting in human resources department, such a dead-end job, how sad.
Andrew laughed at me and walked away. My first major task in the human resources department was to prepare for the company's social event. Of course, I wasn't doing it alone. The entire human resources department worked together. Our company holds a social event every October. It avoids the fiscal year end and busy periods, and it's also about 6 months after the new employees join, so they're well integrated into the company by then. Our social event is a big deal every year. Not only do the president and board members attend, but employees' families are also welcome to join. Because it's such a large event, detailed preparations for the schedule and food arrangements were underway. The burden of these preparations fell heavily on us in the Human Resources Department. We had to work overtime every day, and I was feeling mentally exhausted. My colleagues also looked worn out. In addition to our regular duties like payroll, we had to prepare for the social event. It's no wonder everyone was losing their patience. That day, I was scheduled for overtime again, so I went to the break room to buy a coffee. There, I happened to run into Andrew. The moment I saw him, I felt disheartened. I knew he would definitely put me down. And sure enough, my prediction was correct. When Andrew saw me with a coffee in hand, he snorted.
You're working overtime again? In such a dull, slow-paced department, you really must be terrible at your job.
I retorted to Andrew's words. We're just busy with preparations for the social event right now. Besides, could you stop belittling not just me, but my entire department? Andrew smirked and said,
You, the company's burden, dare to lecture me? You've got some nerve.
You don't even know how hard I work. Andrew's presumptuous remarks made me want to sigh. Then, in the next moment, Andrew did something unbelievable. Andrew turned the cup of coffee he was drinking upside down right in front of me. After that, he dropped the cup and stepped on it. With a triumphant smile, he spoke to me.
Make sure you clean this up, will you, support staff?
Andrew laughed as he left the break room. It was truly unacceptable behavior. I had no choice but to grit my teeth and clean up. With only a week left until the social event, I was troubled. Since then, Andrew has been harassing me at every opportunity. I've been enduring it, not wanting to end up like in high school, but I wasn't sure if this was the right thing to do. However, I didn't have the courage to stand up to Andrew, who seemed to be on the elite track in the sales department. If others found out, I might end up isolated again. As a new employee, if I'm avoided by my colleagues, it would impact my future work. I couldn't find an answer to whether I should keep enduring Andrew's behavior or stand up to him. All I could do was worry and hold my head in my hands. Seeing me in such a state, my dad reached out to me.
Michael, are you okay? You seem troubled about something.
Dad. My dad always noticed when I was feeling down. I appreciated his kindness. But now that I'm an adult, I couldn't rely on him too much. So I smiled and replied, "It's nothing. Work is going well, so don't worry."
As long as you're not pushing yourself too hard.
But my dad still looked concerned. I didn't want to worry him any further, so I decided to change the subject. "Oh, by the way, why don't you come to my company's social event as my guest?"
Social event?
My dad looked surprised. I explained that I was part of the human resources team organizing the event and that family members were welcome to attend. After hearing this, my dad agreed to come.
I'd love to see how you're doing at Rainbow Corporation. I'll be there.
I was thrilled by his response. "Really? Thanks, Dad." Knowing that my dad would see how hard I was working would surely put his mind at ease. I put even more effort into preparing for the social event to make sure my dad would have a great time. On the day of the social event, I attended with my dad. Although the preparations were tough, I didn't have any responsibilities during the event so that all employees could enjoy it. The event was held on a weekday, but my dad took the day off work to join me. I was touched by his kindness.
Are you Michael's father? Michael has been working so hard and has been a great help to me.
John, the human resources manager, came over and showered me with praise. I felt embarrassed by all the praise from John. My dad looked happy to hear me being complimented.
I'm so proud of my son Michael for doing such a great job.
I felt happy, but then I sensed a hostile gaze. When I looked in that direction, I saw Andrew glaring at me. John and my dad didn't seem to notice Andrew's stare.
Well, enjoy the event, David.
After a while, John moved on to talk with other employees.
You've joined a good company.
My dad looked at me and spoke with deep emotion. I felt proud of myself seeing my dad so content, but then an unexpected interruption occurred. Andrew, who had been watching us from a distance, approached with a beer in hand. I was hoping that my bad feeling would be wrong, but Andrew said exactly what I feared.
Well, look who's here. You, a failure from Human Resources Department.
Michael, who is this?
My dad frowned at Andrew's harsh words. But Andrew didn't care and continued speaking to my dad.
I'm Andrew, assigned to the prestigious sales department. I went to the same high school as Michael, but unlike him, I'm actually successful.
I couldn't help but glare at Andrew. His words were completely inappropriate for such a festive occasion. However, Andrew seemed oblivious and kept trying to assert his dominance over me.
You come from a single-parent household, right? Poor people like you guys will always be stuck at the bottom, even in a top company. Your dad looks shabby and doesn't belong here.
I couldn't let Andrew's outrageous comments slide and spoke up. "Andrew, have you had too much to drink? How dare you speak to my father like that?" I didn't want anyone to speak to my beloved dad that way, so I confronted Andrew. Then Andrew turned to me and made an even more shocking remark.
Don't you get it? You don't belong here. Get out.
I was stunned by Andrew's cruel words. Andrew, with his prestigious education and placement in the sales department, and me, a graduate of a third-rate college assigned to the human resources department. It's no wonder Andrew looks down on me. However, his comments are utterly unacceptable. This time, he wasn't just insulting me. He was also insulting my dad. My dad's face turned red with anger, proving just how offensive Andrew's words were.
Who is this guy?
My dad muttered quietly. Seeing my dad's expression, I looked down and thought. Usually, I would endure Andrew's remarks, but this time my dad was right beside me. Thinking about how Andrew insulted my dad because of me made me regret my past behavior. Seeing that I remained silent, Andrew got even more heated.
The exit for poor folks like you is over there. Get out.
Andrew pointed to the exit. Moreover, it was just like Andrew to say such rude words in a low voice, making sure only we could hear them. Andrew wore a charming smile, so no one else noticed our exchange. Everyone else was chatting and having a good time. I clenched my fists tightly. It was infuriating to hear Andrew say whatever he wanted. I couldn't forgive him for insulting my respected father like this. Enough already. I finally yelled at Andrew. My voice trembled with anger. I never wanted to worry my dad. I hated feeling so powerless. Remembering how I was alone in high school, I had let Andrew have his way. But Andrew didn't seem to care about what I said at all.
What? I can't hear you. Poor people like you shouldn't be at a prestigious company's event. Just disappear right now.
Andrew laughed triumphantly at me. He probably believed that no matter how disrespectful he was to me, there would be no consequences. I was filled with nothing but anger toward him. I don't mind even if I get fired. I'm going to put Andrew in his place. With that thought, I stepped forward to confront him.
Got any complaints?
Andrew just kept smirking. But as I stepped forward, my dad blocked my way. Dad? I was puzzled, not understanding my dad's actions. Then my dad smiled warmly at me.
Michael, you don't need to push yourself anymore. You've done enough. Let me handle this. I won't let Andrew have his way any longer.
Andrew laughed at our exchange.
Is this some display of fatherly love? Poor people sure know how to act tough.
I glared intensely at Andrew. Then I started to worry if my dad was really okay. Andrew had both parents, unlike me with my single dad. So, he was probably in a much more privileged position than I was. I was worried if my single father could really stand up to someone like Andrew. Then, my dad shouted loudly enough for everyone around to hear.
Bring me the highest ranking person here right now.
What? Dad? I was shocked by my dad's unexpected demand. I thought he would confront Andrew directly. What is he planning by calling for a highest ranking person? I was bewildered. The highest ranking person in our company is the president, Robert, but I didn't understand why my dad was calling him. Apparently, Andrew felt the same way.
The highest ranking person? Old man, do you understand your position? Calling Robert just because you're Michael's father is only going to make things worse for Michael.
Andrew sneered. It's true that no parent would call the president over a dispute between new employees. Besides, I doubted that Robert would respond to my dad's summons. And as Andrew said, calling Robert might negatively affect me as well. Worried about my future, I tried to talk to my dad. Dad, it's okay now. This is my problem, and calling Robert isn't the right thing to do. I gently tried to persuade him, but he wouldn't listen.
Michael, you've had a hard time, haven't you? We need to call Robert and set things straight. Otherwise, your work is only going to get tougher.
My dad looked at me with concern. Andrew was watching our exchange with a look of disbelief.
Causing this kind of trouble is only going to make Michael's position worse. I wonder if he'll just get demoted? What's lower than the Human Resources Department?
Andrew smirked and muttered happily. He was probably enjoying imagining my downfall. He was truly a despicable man. However, there was some truth in Andrew's words, and I felt anxious. Dad, it's really okay. Let's not call Robert. I tried to persuade him, but he wasn't budging.
It's fine. Michael, just stand your ground.
My dad said with such confidence that I couldn't argue. I guess it's useless to say anything to him in this state. All right, Dad. I gave up and waited for Robert and the board members to arrive. 5 minutes later, they showed up. This is the end of my career. I resigned myself to my fate. But then something unexpected happened. What? I noticed that Robert and the board members looked uneasy, which puzzled me. But there was no time to dwell on that. Because as soon as my dad saw them, he started yelling.
What is the meaning of this? This guy has been insulting my son Michael repeatedly. How are you going to take responsibility for this?
Dad, calm down. I turned pale at my dad's outburst. Standing in front of us were the company's president and board members. They were not people he should yell at, especially not as the family of an employee. I worried that I might not be able to stay at this company and buried my head in my hands.
Why are Robert and the board members here? This is just an argument between employees. There's no reason for them to get involved.
Andrew was shocked to see them show up, his face stiffening. But I couldn't worry about Andrew. Thinking about the future, I was drenched in sweat. I had worked hard to get into this